I do often think about the scope and the impact of what it is we do. I truly believe that it is because of the nuclear mission that open conflict between the world powers has not happened since World War II. Historically, the world powers would go into conflict with each other on a very regular basis, every 10 to 15 years, I believe, on average. The fact that we have not had a major war like that since World War II, with open conflict between the US and another world power, I do believe is because of nuclear deterrence. The impact of what we do cannot be understated, and the scope of responsibility that we have is it's massive.
America has never gone to war against a nuclear-armed enemy, and the possibility of that ever happening seemed remote after the end of the Cold War and during 2 decades of counterinsurgency fights in Iraq and Afghanistan. But we now live in a complicated world, characterized by competition with nuclear-armed adversaries who wield new technologies, such as hypersonic missiles and artificial intelligence. The US homeland is no longer a sanctuary, quarantined by distance from its adversaries. We live in a global, high-threat environment, and, as during the Cold War, America's arsenal of nuclear-armed intercontinental ballistic missiles remains on alert 24/7, 365 days a year, ready to respond should the unthinkable ever come to pass.
This is Missile Alert Facility Alpha 01. It is responsible for the area around Burns, Carpenter, and Egbert, 10 launch facilities out that are controlled by this site. This site is also the secondary command post, so everybody within the 319th complex, Alpha through Echo, will report up to this site before going up to the main command post.
So this facility is connected to the missiles via an underground.
Yes, sir.
Land
There's a
connection.
series of underground cables that connect a bunch of different things together. I don't believe that there's one transient path for each missile. I think there's multiple to ensure no single point of failure.
But everything's connected through the cable with backup measures just in case anything happens, of course.
And these were all built
Back-
decades ago, huh?
Correct. Actually, every 3 years or so, we have this thing called HSEP, which is basically where you test the integrity of certain components. We actually found a Coke can from like the 1970s. It was rusted out. They probably just forgot about it, but it was pretty cool to find. You find some cool stuff just buried there from years ago. People signed the cases from when they originally put the cable. Some stuff hasn't seen daylight since the 60s, so it's kind of a surprise what you find in there sometimes.
Does it get boring out here, or is there always something to do?
There's always something to do. If you're not self-motivated, it very well could get boring. You have to find something to do to keep yourself busy, or you go insane after so long.
Yeah. And how many missileers are typically here at any one time?
4.
There's 4.
Yes, sir.
So those 4 then are just constantly rotating through.
They are. So all of our maps, we do 24-hour rotations where they're downstairs for 24 hours, and then the next crew swaps them out and they come topside. It helps alleviate I guess the boredom that would come from being inside of a bubble.
So they're awake for 24 hours while they're in there.
They have a bed down there. They
Okay.
can swap in and out of sleep.
So between the 2 of them downstairs,
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
Why is it essential that you can remain autonomous out here? When you think about the mission, why do you need to be able to operate no matter what conditions you face?
Because you never know what's going to happen in the world. We are the first line of defense and deterrence for the United States. If our mission fails, we have failed as a country. And our security is gone.
So you have to always be ready to go 24/7, 365, no matter if you lose power or water or whatever.
Yes, sir. Never stops.
Yes, sir. The Minuteman III has been on alert for, I believe it's 50 years now, but the mission has not changed. We are here to deter our enemy from going to war with us, and that's what we do.
Everything that we do is to, maintain our nation's security.
Is there an added sense of importance or gravitas or just seriousness. You're not just guarding any normal facility. I mean, this is a facility that controls the most powerful weapons in the world. Do you think about that and the importance of what you do?
After being at a nuclear site for a couple of years, I think it started to dawn on me a little bit. There's this Damocles that has been over my head since the time that I was born, and I've grown up with it. It's comfortable. There's always been, you know, that gun pointed at me, and we stopped that gun from going off. And it is pointed at all of us. The threat is real, and if it wasn't for the things that we're doing out here, life would be completely different.
I wake up, honestly, go to work and do my thing. It seems like a 9-to-5 job, but at the end of the day, I know what we're doing here is drastically important. But my dad did it too. But you know, I guess it goes through families with some people. But I never saw myself doing this.
I bet your dad's proud of you for doing this job.
Oh, he is. He sure is.
Is this among the coolest jobs as a security forces?
Oh, 100%. Being 19-year-olds guarding, you know, something that could basically wipe out the entire human race it's unbelievable, crazy to even think about. Each time we're out here, we're literally guarding what could possibly be the end of us, you know? And I mean, we kind of joke about it, like each time that we're pulling our job, like we basically just open up like the gates to mass destruction, and it's crazy, but it's definitely one of the coolest things I think I've ever done. And I didn't think that so much stuff went on, like to protect them as much as it does until I got here.
Right through this wall is a Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile. I have to say, it's pretty awe-inspiring to be standing within just a few yards of our country's most powerful weapon. And although this missile dates from the Cold War, its mission is certainly not outdated. In this new era of great power competition with China and Russia, our country's nuclear deterrent is just as important as it has ever been.
There's a whole lot of extra room beneath the missile. So right now they're locking out the arms so we can get the booster out. And then there's sling rods coming from the transport erector topside. That's going to come down. These guys are going to connect everything, and then we will raise it and put it in the truck and send it back to base.
We're inside a missile launch control center. Inside this room, 2 missileers control up to 10 intercontinental ballistic missiles armed with nuclear warheads. It's an impressive job that requires a lot of responsibility. And to be here, and to see this equipment, and to know what it represents, makes quite an impression.
So, as you can see, it's a smaller space. There's a lot of comm equipment. That's most of what these racks are. We have 6 communication systems in here, vary between hardened and unhardened systems. Right here is our SAX. This is our primary communication system. It actually travels through commercial telephone lines, and what travels through there also is distributed through these 2 racks. Want to grab that? And it just travels to our other capsules throughout the squadron. It can take care of classified, unclassified messages. We have 2 other communication systems right next to it, satellite-based. We have radio systems. So the idea is that if we were to come under attack, one of them is going to get through to us. Redundancy is the idea behind it. And then this is more or less the meat and potatoes of the job. We have 2 positions, and you can see here we have 1 launch switch there, 1 there, and then we have a launch switch there with the blue tape over it, which is where the actual key, which is stored in our security container here behind 2 locks, then another switch down there. So all 4 keys turn under a valid and authentic message from the president, and we continue with our processes from there.
That reminds me of like Afghanistan or something. Oh wow, like a little greenery. Pretend like we were topside.
In terms of targeting, we have the ability to rapidly target our sorties. So if a threat were to pop up out of the blue and we need that threat covered, we have the capability to do that very fast. So,
obviously, there's security reasons why the division of labor is between 2 people, and are there also psychological reasons that the act of launching
is never relegated to one person's sort of moral conscience as well.
So we have two concepts. They're called nuclear surety and positive control. The nuclear surety concept, it's the idea that a missile or a weapon isn't going to go when we don't want it to. It's not going to detonate when we don't want it to. Positive control, on the other hand, is the complete inverse. It's when we want it to go, it's going to go. So the processes that we have in place are the perfect mesh between those two concepts. And it's worked fantastic for the last many decades, and it's holding us over very well. And as this weapon system ages, the nuclear surety aspects, the positive control aspects remain hardened. That's not going anywhere.
And that's such an awesome responsibility to be the last line of the launch process.
Yeah. Pretty humbling.
And then it has to be difficult too, because you have families topside, and even your friends just 60 feet above you.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be, and they would all die if you actually had to execute your mission.
Right, and that's something that we have to take into consideration whenever we took the job, was that we signed saying that we are, in the event that we are given the call, we will answer it without hesitation.
When you think about all the different generations of missileers who've been through this facility, right? Like that's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Right? Like during Vietnam, people down here, you know?
Yep, it's had upgrades over the years, but the core of it is still the same. It's still the same weapon system, and it functions as good as ever.
Wow. Right, and
Oh shit. Can we have you?
So we have 400 launch facilities that they're housed in, but the specifics of the numbers actually varies by day, and I wouldn't be comfortable going into those numbers here. But we have 400 sites that we utilize at the 3 bases that we have out here in the central United States. For the nuclear warheads, similar to the Minuteman III, they're older systems, but they've gone through several modifications over the years, so it's not as easy as saying how old they are. They've gone through several modifications and modernizations over the years so that they can remain safe and secure and effective.
I know what we're doing every day is deterrence for our enemies, and I know they're watching what we're doing, and I hope that they are scared of what we're doing, and they know that they cannot come for the United States because of our nuclear weapons and the deterrence that creates.
We do whatever it takes to keep the missiles on alert so that everyone else can sleep safe at night, knowing that we are here doing our job just in case it is ever needed.